And welcome back to Bear's Reading Nook. So, as you guys can probably tell, this content is going to be a little bit different because due to current setup of things, I can't necessarily do a video with a special guest as well in, like, the small space where I record. So instead, this is going to be more podcasty, and I have my awesome husband here.
Hello.
Who has also read Warbreaker, and ouch. And we're gonna talk about Warbreaker together.
Yeah.
I think we have like general thoughts and stuff like that, and then at some point later there will be some spoilers, but we'll just like let you guys know before we talk about that.
We'll put time code or something.
Yeah.
That's the first appearance on your channel. Although I edited your first couple of videos.
Yes, you did.
And taught you how to edit.
Yes, and now I do it all myself.
Hey.
Which you probably like.
No, I don't mind editing, but yeah, this is also our first Brandy Sandy book. We've never read a Brandon Sanderson before. I get the hype now.
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah,
I do too.
I guess general thoughts. You can go first.
I freaking love this book. Like, how did it take me this long to read this book? And just like I freaking love it. And I want to read more Sanderson at some point soon. The thing stopping me is just like they're bigger and will take more time.
The thing that's stopping me is that every single one of his books has like 3 different people waiting on Libby or Hoopla.
Yeah.
And we just happened to get lucky where both of us managed to get a different audiobooks at the same time.
Yeah.
That was nice.
That's the other reason for me as well.
But yeah, general thoughts, same, really great. Like, honestly, every character was amazing. The story was really good. Yeah, it's just overall solidly written. Yeah, I don't really talk about books for a living like you do. So
For a living, I don't get paid for this.
It's fair, but as a hobby, like
yeah, I get what you mean. So, do you want to just quickly do like a summary of Warbreaker?
Oh geez, how would I even summarize this?
That's fair.
A multiple point of view story involving colorful magic. Well, more like animation magic, I guess is the...
Yeah, that would be a good way to say it.
And it's following different characters trying to accomplish peace, I guess is the...
Yeah, that would kind of like be a broad way of saying it without spoiling anything.
Yeah.
The title of the book is Warbreaker.
I will say that is probably one of my bigger criticisms, is Warbreaker is I don't like it as a title.
It's just so like...
Maybe it's because I read a lot of Warhammer books where it's like Warhammer, Warmaster, Warlord. It's where it's war everything.
Yeah.
And Warbreaker, you can't break a war.
Also,
you can stop a war.
Like, yeah. And to me, it doesn't necessarily tell you, like, anything really about the book. And, like, some books have, like, something somehow in, like, the title that you kind of get, like, okay, this is, like, the vibe it's going for. Where Warbreaker, legit, you're just like, the heck this book about?
Yeah. I mean, like, Lord of the Rings, like, even within the first chapter, you know what that's about. You don't know what Warbreaker means until very end.
Yeah.
Which is, I guess, ballsy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if this is a common theme through Brandy Sandy books, but if it is, like, it's fine. The titles of his books never really stuck out to me, but, like, recommendations is always how I heard about them. So.
Yeah.
But anyway, enough blathering on about that, I guess. And I mean me, not you.
No, you're good. This is fun.
So, that's I guess a brief summary. What I have in my little notes, characters.
Yes.
So let's start with, I think the first one is Vasher.
Yes, Vasher is, I think, the prologue point of view.
he came across as an edgelord to me immediately. But I did really like his starting chapter. I like the twist of it, which I guess it's the first chapter, so we can go into details about it.
Okay, but first, can you explain to me why he came off as an edgelord to you?
Because he's like sneaking around like a rogue in D&D, goes to prison to rob a guy. Like, that kind of feels like Ed has a talking sword.
Yeah.
Like, it kind of feels like an edgelord kind of character, but honestly, there's a lot more to him, and he probably got the fewest chapters.
Yes, and honestly, he was probably one of the most intriguing characters to me.
There is a reason why we didn't get much of him, and that relates to spoilers.
Yes,
probably.
that's right. That is right.
But yeah, a Vasher, very interesting one to start off. I did kind of imagine him very hobo-like. They described him very dirty, and I'm like, I kind of like a hobo thief.
I mean,
with a talking sword is a striking concept.
Yeah, I get that, and like, it was mainly to blend in.
Yeah.
And like, you know, he accomplished that by looking dirty.
Yeah. Then that brings us to Vivenna. I did not like Vivenna starting off.
Yeah.
But I think that's the point.
I also didn't like her. Just like certain interactions reminded me of people that I know in real life.
Yeah, she was very judgmental. Admittedly, I was also on board with her judgments at the beginning.
I mean, that's kind of like how it's set up.
Yeah,
that you would be judgmental of.
Hallandrum?
Yeah.
What's the other one called? It's like Istris or Ishtar? Idris Elba?
I cannot remember. Let me look it up really quickly.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I legit...
But yeah, like, I did not like Hallandrome to start off with, but I think that's kind of the point. But Vivenna definitely has... I think she has the strongest character arc.
Yes.
From where she starts to where she ends. It's really satisfying. And she ended up becoming one of my favorites by the end, so...
Okay, legit, the only one that they list is Hallandren.
Maybe the wiki has it.
Oh, Idris.
Idris. Okay, it was
Idris.
Idris.
It is Idris, okay.
So, like, Idris
Like,
Elba.
it sounded like Idris, but then, like... Okay, Idris sounded the most right, but then it was like, but that's Idris Elba. That's not right.
My man can.
I mean, he's pretty good.
He's a very attractive man.
Heck yes. But yes, Vivenna, basically her deal is that she has been raised to be the, like, wife of the God King.
Because of a treaty.
Yeah, because of a treaty, and things happen, and...
She gets swapped out.
And she's not very happy with that.
Yeah.
And that kind of, like, starts her, like, character arc.
Then there was Ciri.
I freaking love Ciri.
Yeah, Ciri's great. She's sassy. She doesn't... Well, she does take nonsense, but in a smart way. She's probably the smartest of any of them.
Yes, but the thing is, like, it's not intentional.
Yeah.
Like, at least within Hallandren, it's not intentional. It's just how they perceive things that she does, or, like, stuff like that. But she's freaking smart, and, like, basically... She just kind of does whatever she wants because she's, like, the youngest child. There's really, like, no obligation or need for her to, like, fulfill. And her dad is kind of just sick of her crap. And so he just, like, sends her off in Vivenna's place to go marry the God King. And she's like, well, I guess this is happening now.
Yeah. But, yeah, weirdly... While I was listening at work, because my work allows me to listen to audiobooks, so that's nice.
They're cool.
Yeah, my work's nice. I was most into those chapters of her, like, because I really like, and hers is probably the most, like, palace intrigue-y of them all. And I like that kind of stuff. Like, that was what I loved about A Song of Ice and Fire, that kind of stuff was what interested me the most. The scheming in the background.
I think for me, Palace Intrigue is something that I'm, like, learning to like, and the way that Sanderson did it in Warbreaker is a really good, like, way of doing it, and it's one that I liked.
Yeah.
So I am intrigued to see what other, like, kind of political storylines are in, like, various...
So, I was listening to his college lectures about writing, because I just thought they were interesting. And Miss Ford, he mentioned the premise of it was a heist, and I'm like, huh. A magical heist, which I'm like, that sounds fun.
Yes.
So, like, I will say his premises are always like, hey, once I actually learn what it is, I'm like, I'm on board.
Yeah, I think, I could be wrong, but I feel like the part of the premise that I have heard about Mistborn is, what if the bad guy won? And
that was part of it. He did mention that.
So,
also.
like, that mixed with heist, like, I want that.
Yeah. And then our last point of view character, although there's technically one over point of view character, and that's one of my issues. Light Song. I'll stick a pin in that.
Okay.
We're sticking a pin in that one.
Light Song. What are your thoughts on Light Song?
I loved Light Song. Like, immediately, I was just like, if I ended up in his position, this is probably what I would be like.
Yes.
Just so done with this stuff.
Okay, so basically, Light Song is, a god in, like, the pantheon that Hallandren has, and he's basically just done with everything, doesn't really want to do anything.
Just makes jokes over people, or, like, sarcastic, makes jokes at people, like, just is like, this is all dumb, kind of thing. Like, but then he starts, you know, getting involved, and then it's really nice to see him, like, care.
Yes, and, like, both parts of him, the, like, kind of sassiness, like, that part, and how he interacted with, like, his priest and stuff, and, like, the getting invested kind of, figuring things out part, like, they work so well together, and I freaking love him!
Yeah, Light Song just, like, immediately, I was just like... Oh, I should mention that the gods of this are mortal, they're just people that came back to life?
Yeah.
That's mentioned in the first couple of chapters, so it's just like people that somehow came back and they don't even know how that worked. And so they're like worshipped in this society. So he's just like, I don't know who I was. Maybe I died eating, choking on something. It's like He doesn't even believe in his own godhood, which everyone else around him does. So he's just like, he's his own personal atheist, which is an interesting twist. So.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting as well.
Yeah. Magic system.
Legit, the entire time I was reading this book, I felt like I was missing something from the magic system, because as far as I know, it was just 3 things, and that was,
the word command?
It's a word command you
the
take...
Breath.
Yes, the word command, the breath, which you kind of, like, breathe into, like, whatever you're trying to animate, whether it be a cloak or, like, hay or something. And then also the fact that you drain color to basically use the breath as magic.
So, I think, is the color, like, actually necessary, or is it just a byproduct, like the color getting drained? I can't remember.
It seemed like you had to have all 3.
Okay.
Like, you had to almost have a color because, like, in the first chapter even, or, like, the, whatever, preface.
Yeah.
Prologue, that's the word.
I knew what you meant.
But Vasher, like, finds a scarf or something and, like, holds that to use the magic. So, basically, it seems like the color will drain no matter what from.
See, like, I'm trying to remember a different character, if they even mentioned the color distortion thing when they were using magic later in the book. I can't even remember. So that's why I'm like, is the color thing just byproduct? Because, like, if you get so many breaths in you, you can kind of, like, stockpile. Everyone has a breath, and you can give a breath willingly. And, like, the revived people need a breath a week, or else they die. Something or other. And you can, like, stockpile, like, tons and tons of breaths. And then it starts, like, distorting things. Like, you start having, like, bright colors around you. And you see, like... the actual colors of things, like the perfect colors, which is really cool. And you can do, like, more advanced stuff with the breaths. I'm trying... Is, like, the stealing of color, was that just part of the, like, heightenings as the...
I have no clue. Like, I don't know, like... I feel like you need to steal color to do a thing, but maybe I'm just completely wrong.
Maybe I'm probably wrong. Like, this is to be something that we look up. Maybe we'll look it up and we'll just put a little text box of who's right. Or maybe we're both wrong.
And if we're both wrong, we'll put what the actual
I mean, the magic system was really interesting because it was literally just animating things for the most part. I think that was the... basically, it was like animating a sword, animating bodies, animating, like... carpets and scarves and pieces of clothing. World building, so everything outside the magic. I like the political situation. I wish I knew more about the world in general, because they gave a brief history, but it seems like nothing really existed before that. Which, I mean, I'm a history nerd, so, like, that's a me issue more than a book issue. They gave you what you needed to know.
Yeah, but I would have liked to see, I think, like, more fleshed out of, like, how potentially, like, Hallandrin and stuff, like, is either affected or influenced by other places around there.
I think there's only maybe 4 countries in total mentioned.
Yeah.
So,
I think
so. That was a little, like, I wish there was more, but yeah, again, I'm a person that will, in a D&D campaign, make, like, 40 nations, just because...
I'm aware of this.
I know. Because I have a problem.
For me, though, as someone who hasn't read a lot of epic fantasy, having only, like, 4 places mentioned was nice, because then I don't have, like, 20 different places to remember, and, like, relate back to... XYZ characters and, like, all that stuff.
Creatively, it was the right decision, I feel.
Yes.
To make a tight book. Like,
yes.
To make... and I will say, like, the story is not one with fat on it. Like, it is knows exactly what it needs to be, and it shows that, like, this man is a professional author.
Heck yes.
Any other things about world building? I did like that it was a tropical kind of climate.
Yeah.
In Hallandrin. You don't really see that in, like, kind of medieval-y fantasy, so that was nice.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
They were talking about, like, monkeys and stuff.
And didn't they talk about, like, fishing stuff as well?
Yeah, like, and, like, tropical fruits to the south and things like that. I also like that, like, Hallandrin is all, like, vibrant and colorful, and Idris is just, like...
drab.
Yeah, drab. But because of... historical reasons, that's why their cultures are very different in those regards. So I guess we're in the spoiler zone.
Spoiler zone!
So the air horn of the spoiler. Turn back now. So I didn't put any notes for spoiler time, but besides...
you said there was a character that you wanted to come back to.
Okay. They give Ciri and Vivenna's dad a very brief point of view, and that felt like cheating. Because nowhere else in the book did it ever go to a random other person's point of view.
Yeah, and that was for, like, a very specific purpose of, I think... Was that when he decided that he was going to send Ciri instead of Vivenna?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was his justification, which, like, it was good to know, but I think Vivenna is smart enough that she could probably piece it together.
Yeah, like...
it could have been done without it.
I don't feel like they give Vivenna enough credit to be smart and figure out, oh, if I'm not going, then
Well,
it's because...
I mean, she gets duped real hard.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, because she was trained in ladylike ways to be the king of Hallandren's wife.
Yeah.
So.
But, yeah, so she ends up running into some mercenaries. At first, I really liked the mercenaries. I was like, these guys are fun. They're constantly talking about how people think we're gonna betray you because we're mercenaries. And they mention it like 3 times, and that's when I was just like, they're gonna freaking betray her, aren't they? And lo and behold, they did.
I will say that after you mentioned that,
My theory before it was confirmed.
Yeah, after you mentioned it before it was confirmed, I was like, dang it, I think he's right. Yeah.
And Denf's, it always felt like there was something more to him, and it turns out it was, because he was, really freaking old.
Yeah.
Also related to the royal bloodline, too? With his hair color change? That was, that I didn't get answers to, but I'm intrigued.
We didn't actually specify that. So, basically, Vivenna and Ciri have this ability to change their hair based on emotions. Like, no one else in Idris outside the royal family can do that. So no one outside the royal family can do, the hair change based on emotion thing, but this, have you said the name yet?
Denf?
Yeah.
Denf, yeah. Denf was one of the mercenaries.
And he was the one that could do that, so he's somehow related to the royal family?
But, yeah. I don't know exactly how that worked. I did like what they did with the hair of just embarrassment and just fear. It sells the emotions pretty well.
I thought it was cool. Also, can we talk about how adorable Sisebron was?
Yes, the God King turns out to be the softest of boys, and we love him.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
It's a big bait and switch that is portrayed as terrifyingly powerful, but it turns out he's basically a prisoner in the palace, and he doesn't have a tongue, so he can't even use his crap ton of breaths that he has. And Ciri teaches him to read and write, and it's adorable. And then they get together, and it's also adorable.
I want to talk about the bedroom thing.
What bedroom?
His perception.
Oh.
But at the same
This is how innocent this boy is. He thought that, okay, since they're married, they're supposed to, have a spouse, or
have kids.
Have a kid, yeah, because they're spouses. And he did not know how the mechanics of that work, so he was just like, we've been in the bedroom together, and you're not pregnant. I don't understand how this works. It's just oh, you poor sweet boy.
They were in the same room. They were nowhere near each other.
Yeah, there's a 50-foot separation between the two. He's just why no baby? How is Babby formed?
He is a sweet summer child, and he is adorable, and he needs to be protected.
Yeah, he's actually really nice, and their romance is very believable.
Oh yeah.
And he comes through at the end. He gets his tongue healed and saves his wife.
Yes, it's adorable.
We related to that. We lose Light's song. He sacrifices himself to heal Sisebron's tongue.
Going off of that, okay, so the God King supposedly is not able to have kids.
Yes.
But if,
your theory.
Yes, if Lightsong used his power to heal Sisebron's tongue, does that therefore mean that his baby-making parts can therefore make babies? Because I want to believe that it does, because we need to have little Sisebron and Ceres running around. That is my thing.
I mean, it's possible. They did, Vasher at one point is we don't even know how, the first one had children. So, maybe that's how. Who knows?
Make that happen.
Let's see, other spoilers. So, we learned who Lightsong was in his previous life, and it made me tear up.
Okay, going off of that, he, this entire time, is, like, investigating something, like, oh, well, maybe I was a detective, maybe I was this, maybe I was that, and, like, his high priest person is just like, no, you're a freaking scribe! You wrote stuff down, you found money!
He yells, you were an accountant!
That's what it was!
And back then, you got me in trouble, too, and it turns out that his high priest is his brother. And you learn how he dies. He saved his niece, or, like, drowned to save her, and then he came back. And he loses his memories in that, so then his brother was just like, alright, you may not be a god, but you're a god to me. And I'm like, oh.
That was, like, legit one of the most touching moments.
Yeah, like, I was driving home, and I was like, get back in there, tear. That's too sweet.
Insert Cloudy with the Chance of Meatballs.
So Den's betrayal was a big thing. Then Vasher teaches Vivenna how to do magic, which she was very opposed to initially. So that's a nice little thing. We also learn a lot about Vasher's past.
Oh yes.
He is everyone important in history, it feels like.
Like, legit!
He's 3 different people that we heard about in the past.
All rolled into one.
Yeah, like, literally he's 3 different historical figures, all of them being the same person.
Oh, yeah. But it's a nice unfolding because since we don't get a lot of his perspective, like, that being a thing is kind of cool.
Yeah. I definitely agree. And it also explains his kind of, like, he almost seems like the bitter loner emo kind of type.
Yeah.
I mean, he murdered his wife, but that was kind of justified.
Wait. The one chick that he killed that made the sword was his wife?
Yeah.
What?
They mentioned that at one point, I thought.
I somehow missed that it was his freaking wife.
Yeah.
I just knew that it was Den's sister.
Yeah,
right? It was Den's sister?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, that adds...
What the heck? Oh my gosh, that makes it so much worse!
Yeah. I mean, you can't have more Nightblades. Or is it Nightblood? Nightblade?
Nightblood, I think.
Yeah, you can't have more of those swords going around.
Yeah, I know.
They are too dangerous, as my favorite scene of Vasher going full hard mode, slaughtering all of those undead soldiers with his awakened Nightblood, which is just like melting them, like they turn into like smoke and liquid, and then he just starts cutting through the palace to hunt for Den. And that fight was so good, especially the how he wins in the end. Gives him his breath, makes him convulse, and then just kills him.
That's right.
Because no one expects it. I'm like, that's a clever usage of setup and payoff. Like,
also, I will say, Nightblood was kind of creepy, but at the same time, like, I freaking loved Nightblood, and, I can't remember what it was, but we had talked about this at one point, where Nightblood is like, why won't you let me die? But instead of that, it's, why won't you let me kill?
Yeah, so Nightblood creation was kind of screwed up, and he was told to kill evil. And at one point, Vasher's like, do you even know what evil is? And he's like, I think I know. It's just like shamefully. Yeah. I will say the Nightblood magic is the weirdest part, because it's like all the other magic is has to do with animation, but him being able to burn through things and also make people fight each other. That feels weird, like something else almost, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think part of it is the amount of magic it takes
to make that
potentially.
It does some funky things.
Yeah,
okay.
Funky things.
I can accept that as a reasonable explanation. We learn what the palace intrigue thing, Blue Fingers, who I trusted at first, then I was like, I should not trust anyone. I should definitely distrust the guy I think I should trust. So, it turns out I was right.
Yep.
That one I didn't piece together why. I thought it was Bluefinger working with,
Trinities?
Yeah, working with the priests, but no, he had his own faction.
Yeah, which somehow I didn't think about. Like, they mentioned a specific nation at one point, and it kind of, to me, just felt like it was glossed over, which actually works out well, because in real life, in this book, they are glossed over.
Yeah, they're forgotten, they're thought of as, like, peaceful, and they're part of the Hallandrum Empire. And they want independence, and that's something I thought was really interesting, because, like, what Bluefingers wants is correct. I think it is absolutely reasonable for him to be like, I want my nation not to be part of this empire.
Mm-hmm.
But his methods are bad, because he's willing to destroy 2 nations to do it.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, I get, but bro, you're killing a lot of innocent people for this.
Yeah.
I guess, and yeah, I did not call the Vasher thing, like,
yeah,
who the heck he was, like, I've never would have thought of that, so I may have called a few things in there, but that one definitely got me.
I called the Bluefingers one. You had kind of, like, got my brain in on the Dent thing, and I definitely did not call the Vasher thing.
Yeah. I did not call this... Okay, my initial thought for Sebron was, I thought he was a zombie. So I suspected that he was off in some way.
Mm-hmm.
Not what he seemed, but I was completely wrong. I thought it was much more sinister, and it turned out he's just a sweet, innocent boy.
He's such a sweet summer child,
he's such a cinnamon roll.
He is! He needs to be protected! I don't care if he's, like, a really old, like
50
God,
years
bro.
old. He's like 50 years old, technically.
I don't care! He is a sweet summer child, and he needs protected.
I did not call also that what they do with the previous God Kings, that
oh yeah, I didn't either.
They don't actually have kids. They just find an orphan, or they find a reborn baby, and then tell them that, hey, this is the queen and his child, and then they let the God King go after he gives up his crazy amount of breath. It's like 50,000 or 5,000? Something like that.
Something like that,
Some insane amount of breath. And so they just swap him out, and he goes off and does his own thing.
Okay, but here's the question. How do they do that if they cut out the tongue for, like, protection?
You can... I had learned this on Wiki. Apparently, like, once you get to high enough heightening, you can do stuff without verbal commands.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right. They mentioned that, like, early on at some point.
Can I talk about just a random, not important story thing?
Sure, go for it.
Vivenna and her sidekick, who she's just like, this guy totally likes me because, our parents were, like, more or less engaged us together. And he's just like, no, you treat me like an idiot. I don't like you. He gets killed, like, the next scene, but and I felt bad for him. But I did like that just her perception of that was so wrong.
Yeah.
Which kind of goes with the general theme of just, like, misunderstandings. Cultural misunderstandings, like... Hallandrum and Idris both view the war that made them separate nations very differently, and it makes sense why they would.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, initially I was like, you know what, screw the Hallandrum, them taking all the breaths, and then I'm like, actually, towards the end, I'm like, I get it, like, I don't think you should build your entire economy on giving gods art, but, you know, you do you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's kind of the big theme of it, is just, like, perceptions aren't necessarily reality. I mean, also, like, you know, you should change your perceptions when things go, or you get new information. Vivenna changes to doing magic and is like, yeah, this is alright. And wild child Ciri ends up falling in love with the person that she was initially terrified of and scared of.
And I mean, like, going off of the Ciri thing for a second, even, like, when she realizes that she's gonna be, like, sent as the replacement on the way, you know, whatever, she kind of, like, resigns herself, okay, like, this is happening, like, even if this isn't what I want, like, kind of changing at least a little bit of, okay, this is happening, I'm not excited, but we'll just do it. What was that look for?
I forgot about how she sold that they were having sex because
Okay,
where she just pretended and made noises and bounced on the bed.
Yeah, that was fantastic. And of course, this is before, like, her and Sisebron really, like, got to know each other, got to talk. I think this was, like, after, like, a month, 2 weeks, some amount of time of them, like...
And the court's just like, hey, you're not having sex. We know what... We listen. We don't hear that.
And so she finally gets fed up with it. She gets fed up of just, like, sleeping on the floor. So she goes, bounces on the bed, makes the noises, looks at Sisebron, and then just goes and sleeps in the bed.
The rest of the night. And then eventually, like, he communicates with her and gives her, like, a book where he's like, read to me. And it's like, oh, you sweet pork.
It's adorable. Like, their storyline is so cute. I want more of it.
Yeah. I mean, there's a sequel. I don't know if it follows.
Wait, is it out? Or is it, like, in progress? I feel like last I knew it was still in progress.
No idea.
But I feel like that would follow more of Vivenna and Vasher timeline.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna have Funtime Magical Adventures. Lightsong's dead, so we won't get him. So that leaves those two POVs and Siri left. So, best and worsts. I will say I really like the den fight at the end.
Yeah,
that was really well done. Honestly, like every Siri piecing things together in the court palace intrigue, I loved. I like the reveal of who Khalad is, DJ Khaled. That's Vasher at the end. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Light Song dying made me sad, but I'm like, yeah, you went out like a champ kind of thing. What was best stuff for you?
Okay, so first off, gotta go with Siri and Sisebron's, like, little thing, because they're just so
adorable.
cute. As someone who enjoys mystery books, I did also like the intrigue and, like, Siri finding stuff out. I also liked the Vasher thing at the end. I also liked the transformation that Vivenna went through, even if I didn't like her at the beginning.
Yeah, like she realizes most of her preconceived notions about magic and Hollandrum are not right, and she's just... And she had a bad time, because she ends up on the streets at one point, like, begging for food and getting, like, basically fantasy malaria. So she has a bad... Out of everyone's times, hers is the worst. Like, I did think it was really funny. Like, there's a scene of, like, Sisebron and Siri having a nice, like, dinner or something, and then, like, the next chapter is Vivenna begging for food on the street, and I'm like, oh, someone's having a much better experience than another character here. I guess, okay, so I didn't like that they cheated with a point of view, like, for me, I guess, like, the Witcher books, like, will jump around or there's just only, like, a few point of view characters that I will ever go through, and, like, Warhammer books will jump around all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, we'll cut to a person who gets 5 pages and then dies horribly. That's a standard thing, and this kind of felt like that, whereas it's like, we're getting the dad for, just, like, 5 pages, and then it felt cheating. I feel like it could have been done other ways. That's a very minor criticism. And I had one other thing, and I cannot remember for the life of me what it was now.
So I agree, like, I wasn't a fan of just, like, that little point of view from the dad. I think another thing, Blush Weaver came on way too strong for me. Like, I get
Blush
that...
Weaver, the horniest of all characters. Oh
you are not lying.
She's so thirsty.
But, like, to me, she came off way too strong, but I think that's how she's supposed to be, so at the same time...
She's just a red herring, so maybe that's part of it.
That's probably part of it, as is, the one priest.
Oh, the Sisebron's priest?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, okay, yeah, with that knowledge... Blush Weaver isn't bad, but at the same time, there were certain, like, things that, like, she was in that I was just, like, not as happy with, but I liked Light Song's responses.
Yeah, Light Song just constantly rejecting her with wit. It's fun. The thing... Okay. I did not recall that Hallandrum had all those statues around it. I do not remember that being mentioned much, and that... I know it was mentioned, but if I completely missed it, I feel it could have probably been better set up. Like, I missed that part entirely, so like, that twist at the end, I'm like, oh.
The only way that you would know is because Vivenna would repeatedly bring it up because she was around town. It's like, oh, like, there's the statue, okay, we're going this way, in the park, there's a statue like that.
Vivenna chapters were the least interesting, so I may have zoned out on a few details.
Yeah, like, for me...
They became interesting much later.
Yeah, for me, like, I kind of, like, remembered that they were there, but, like, the amount was more of the issue for me, because it didn't seem like there was that many, so...
But yeah, overall, it's like a firm, like, 9.5 out of 10 for me. I don't give 10s out of 10s, because nothing's perfect.
So it'd be like...
But yeah,
4.5?
Yeah, I forgot you booktubers do 5 stars because Goodreads.
Yeah.
I'm used to, like, movies. Well, movies do 5s. Yeah, whatever.
I mean, even in book club, we do out of 10, so...
That's fair.
But... Honestly, for me, it's a 5-star book because I freaking loved it.
Extremely solid characters. Actually, weirdly, like, I know, like, everyone talks about, like, Brandy Sandy's magic systems. I didn't think I thought it was, like, creatively used. I didn't think it was anything, like, insanely like, the core concept itself was, like, insanely creative. I didn't think it was that, like, it was just, like, animation, so I'm like, oh, yeah, these are logical uses of that, and that's cool, but I'm like, honestly, the rules about this are pretty simple, like, I was, maybe it's because everybody talks about how his magic systems, that I was expecting it to be more complex.
I mean...
And that's both good and bad.
Probably.
Yeah, because that one supposedly has, like, 3 different magic systems running about at a point.
Oh gosh. I think for me, the reason why I liked it so much was not the magic, but, like, the story and like, kind of, like, the magic weaved in with that. But overall, I like the story more than, like, the magic being creative, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I did appreciate that certain points he just kind of hand waves is like, we don't know why these people come back to life. Yeah. Even Vasher, who is definitely the most knowledgeable person about this magic, is just like, I don't freaking know. Some things we don't understand about this yet, and maybe that's what him and Vivenna will go off and do, try and understand aspects of it. Which would be
Among
cool.
other things.
Kill people? Or...
Yeah, weren't they going down to hunt the other people?
Oh, yeah. So Vasher's killed 3 out... Or there were 5 scholars. Vasher's killed 3 of them. There's 1 left, so he's gotta finish them off, I guess.
Yeah.
Also, like... Yeah, you should... Vasher, you were correct to kill your wife after we saw what that sword can do.
Yeah.
It's, really good. Solid stuff. Want to read more Brandy Sandy?
Clearly, we should make more of these when we read Brandy Sandy together.
Yay! I'd be up for that.
Awesome. Read Warbreaker!
Yeah, read Warbreaker. This, I guess, is the non-spoilery part, so if you're jumping back in, read Warbreaker. It's very good.
Yeah.
Solid characters, good world building.
5 out of 5 stars!
There's fun times.
So that's all for this little podcasty type of thing.
Yeah, thanks for letting me on here.
Yeah, it was fun having you on here. But we'll see you. I will see you. You may be back at some point.
I watch your videos, so I see you every day. But
yes, but my channel is more like a me than a we.
Yeah.
Although I'm fine with having you back on.
Start stealing your channel. takes it over.
Oh, I mean, okay.
Just dresses up as you, sitting at your little recording station. Just pretends to be you.
I mean, if you want to, I do have to record
Hey guys, welcome to Bears Reading Nook.
I'm Karen. Today we're going to be doing September's TBRs.
Anyway.
I mean, I do have to film that this week, so if you
For
want.
April Fools.
Heck yes.
Anyway,
Anyway,
have a good time, y'all.
that's all for this video. We'll see you guys next time in the Bears Nook. Bye.